Hey there, everybody. This is a special kind of video for a special kind of viewer. Basically, rewind months ago. This is old news now, but I went to PAX East. This is fucking long-ass time ago now. But I had a conversation with Murph about it on the Dead Space episode where I covered a bunch of games. And I felt like even though it was uploaded, it got buried. Especially since when we started the YouTube channel, I wasn't sure what to put on. So now a lot of the videos cut out the early bits of it. So like if you go to the Dead Space video on this YouTube channel, you don't see the 30 minutes to 45 minutes of conversation about other video games anymore. I thought, like, my logic there was like, well, when you click on a Dead Space video, you want to hear a Dead Space video thing. And if you want to hear a full podcast, you know, you could just fucking check the RSS feed like everybody else. I just thought that was appropriate. But then when it comes to this, I felt like it was really unfair to the developers and publishers that offered me this opportunity. Again, I covered it a long time ago, but I felt like it's appropriate now to just do it. And again, this is super late, but it was already covered, and I just want more people to see it. So here it is, packaged in a nice little bow.
Brogan, who's been sitting in my chair?
Nobody, Murph. I would never have guests sit in your chair ever, dude.
There's fucking crumbs in the creases. There's crumbs in the creases of my command chair.
Okay, to be fair, that was not any of the guests. That was me because I like powdered donuts. If you notice on the corner, I also like wiped the powdered donut dust onto your thing. I'm sorry, dude.
Okay,
that's my bad.
But who filled the cup holder with honey mustard?
That was also me. That's my bad. Look, it was a bad Friday. Let's just say.
Oh my god! I leave.
You know how it is. We've all been there before with honey mustard and cup holders.
I go on a tour of the world. I go east and west, and now I'm back again. And the state of the satellite of dreams.
There you go. I just went east, and I didn't even go as far east as you.
You went PAX East.
I did. I went to Boston. You went to Ireland. I went to Boston. The weird white American, like, pretending to be Ireland area.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's a statement.
It was fun. I liked it. I liked the area. I like Boston as a city.
This was your first PAX. You popped your PAX cherry as a member of the press.
This wasn't like my first convention, but it was my first gaming convention. I normally did comic stuff, and this was my first time like actively doing press stuff, which I have technically been shirking off the duties here, but that's why we're here recording right now, to get some of those duties down, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you said duty.
I did. Here's my Call of Duty. The first game I want to talk about is by Battery Staple Games, 30XX. This game has been around for a while. But that being said, when I previewed it with the people, they were previewing a specific update, which was a map maker update. And I was like, whoa. And I have never heard of this game before, but it is ultimately a roguelike Mega Man X-esque game. It plays a lot like Mega Man X, if you've ever played anything like that. It looks a lot like ZX or ZX Advent to people who know what that means. But the gameplay felt very fluid, and I just loved playing it. I was like super excited to actually run through it. And then he, I believe it was the director of the game, showed me the ins and outs of the map maker system. And I love map maker systems in games. Super pro that. He talked about how community focused it was. And he showed me a Metroidvania-esque level, which is not typically how they design the levels. So he's like, the community will have more options than we ever do.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm down. And it was a really good level.
So it's a Metroidvania level made in the map maker?
Yes.
Huh.
It is not typically a Metroidvania. It is normally like a, start from the left, go to the right Mega Man X game. But that being said, the community map maker, he even said during the thing, he was like, the community has more options than us. For instance, he showed me gates. So one of the ways they made progression in the Metroidvania level was there were little gates that either measured how many bolts for the currency you had,
Mm-hmm.
or whether or not you had a certain power that you unlocked within the stage. So that is how they were able to make the Metroidvania elements, and those gates do not appear in the typical game. So they gave the community a bunch of tools. If anyone's a big fan of the game, I would say look forward to what people are going to make in the future, because it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I have 20XX. I had no idea there was a 30XX, let alone that they were making this sort of like map maker for it. It kind of begs the question with how much Capcom has been leaning on classic Mega Man. It seems like a Mega Man maker would be like just cash in the bank, right?
Well, I'm gonna push up my glasses. Mega Man has had makers before. He had Mega Man Powered Up for the PlayStation Portable. There was a map maker on that one, and that one was pretty creative. And that one had less options. The thing is, and it's very revealing. Mario Maker has the same thing, where those are very limited in what they can do. So most of the time, map makers just made challenge maps. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you can only make a Mario course.
Yes, exactly. So at the end of the day, you just decide to make a really hard Mario course. That is like the extent of creativity you can do, really. And then there was a Mega Man Universe like 10 years ago, but that shit got canceled.
A canceled Mega Man game?
I know. So Capcom knows that there is a huge potential there for a Mega Man community to engage with level design, but
All right. Well, what else did you play? Who else did you sit down with?
I sat down with the writer of the scenario for Infernax Do or Die. Infernax is already out, but this is also a promotion for another update. This is the Do or Die update, which is a co-op update. You can play this single player. How the single player works is you switch between the two characters. The characters are fundamentally different, which is what I enjoyed. I played the second player because I was already familiar with how the first one played. Infernax plays like a Zelda 2, Castlevania 2, like 2D walking around towns and dungeons and doing shit thing. Really fun normally, and the co-op mode has his role is he's much more of an archer type, and he doesn't use magic. He uses more tools like a crossbow, etc., etc. And he has his own unique upgrade path, and his role in combat takes much more of a backseat support, but it's much more calculated. Like the tools I use had very specific trajectories that still engaged me with what was going on, but I was not meant to be in, an enemy's face.
So it's not like they're introducing like a new playable character for the single player experience. This is strictly a co-op companion.
I don't remember off the top. I would have to check my notes if he is playable. However, I would highly not recommend playing him single player, at least at first. He is meant to be a complement to the limitations of the normal player character. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, the normal player character is limited in his reach and his abilities because he's meant to be like a Simon Belmont or a Link. Very definitive jump arcs, very definitive things. So he has limited range. So the complement is the all range, no close up. So it kind of is very important that they go together. And again, you can play them single player, but it involves swapping between the two. I am looking forward to it. It's local only is my one big thing.
Oh, that's like a political statement these days.
That is a political statement these days. I'm going to have to find somebody and chain them up to my basement just to do local co-op. I need a local co-op, buddy. That's just what it is. It's a tragedy, but oh well. Another game I played was Blackout Protocol. I was unsure going in, but I super enjoyed it. The thing about Blackout Protocol is it is a co-op roguelike, top down, 4-player, shoot 'em up thing. It's sort of SCP styled, where you're like SCP agents, and you're going down basically a randomized dungeon for SCP monsters. That wasn't the interesting part of the game to me. What I responded to the game with was, number one, the focus on co-op. It plays a lot like Alien Swarm, if you ever played that.
Okay, so there's like dedicated class roles, and not all of them damage dealing.
Yes, there are dedicated class roles. There's dedicated like ult powers and all that. And then the other thing is this is one of the things I love about co-op sometimes, is it intentionally has friendly fire. So there's meant to, yes, it's like a Left 4 Dead scenario. So then I love that, because it reminds me of Mario Bros. Or something, where it's not necessarily a full co-op experience. There's a little competition. There's a little tension in the air of how bad you are, or
but it's
how
a top-down
naughty you are.
twin stick with friendly fire?
Yeah. Yeah, but you can clearly see things. There is a clear iron sights option, I should say, and there's just clear options all around. It was not hard. There's also a clear evade. I could evade easily. Friendly fire was honestly not an issue.
Okay, so it's not like a Diablo where everyone's throwing out AoEs.
No. The abilities are much more personal. The one I played as, just like, for instance, up to my rate of fire. So like they're very minute in their abilities, and they're less like, crazy. There are grenades and stuff in the game, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's not anything insane. And then the levels themselves also, I played one level pretty long, and then I played through a little bit just to see the randomization, and then the same level was completely different in format and what you did. So that was really cool. So I enjoyed those aspects as well.
Okay. What about, so did you mainly just focus on indies? Like there was nothing like big you really sought out?
I played those. I didn't book those for press.
No, well, it's hard to get them for press anyway, but
I mean, if we just want to go off script here and just talk about what I played. The big one I played because I wanted hands-on time with it was Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, I heard you made a man salty playing Guile.
I didn't make a man salty. He was fine. I just know deep down in my heart that when it's like both of our first times playing the beta, it was just the beta, by the way. So like a lot of people have played it before. I'm hearing rumor that the beta is going to be open coming up. So that's exciting. But that means it's limited characters, and a lot of people haven't played the game yet. I didn't play the game at the time. But instead of choosing like a cool character like Jamie and sort of mashing buttons to figure out the mechanics, I went Guile. I hid in a corner. I threw projectiles. And whenever he got close, I punished. Mm-hmm. That is what I did. And this is the lesson I impart to all my viewers. No matter what it takes, get the win. Sweep the leg. You know what I'm saying?
Victory or death.
Yeah, exactly. Win or lose, it's win. That's the answer. But Street Fighter 6 is really good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, when I went off to Ireland, Brogan did say to me, come back with your shield or on it.
You know how it is. Should I keep going, or are we doing a bit still?
I don't have any more 300 references, so...
Well, I will reference them in the shade then. I played Voodolls next, which is you could alternate between top-down, first-person, and third-person tower defense. It's a tower defense game.
Hold on, wait. I need a second to process those words. So it's a tower defense. Is it like Sanctum? You remember Sanctum?
I have not played Sanctum.
Sanctum was an FPS with a tower defense element. Like you'd set up your towers, but then you could run around and just shoot things too.
Yes, that is what it would be like. Yeah,
you can alternate between first, third, and top-down views.
Yes, and the top-down view you don't actually use for combat. You primarily use the top-down view for setup in the prep phase, and then you activate the phase like a horde mode or like Nazi zombies or something. And then otherwise it would be third person or first person. I pretty much stuck to third person. There was like a beta out while PAX East was out, but it's gone now for sure. I enjoyed it. I don't normally play games like this, but I enjoyed the cooldown mechanic. There are different characters with different cooldowns and like power ups and all that. What I was really impressed with was the map, though. I liked the navigation of it, how the map was designed, and how the mini map in the corner was just like a nice little globe that I could comprehensively see all the details. I was very pleased with that. I was able to like map exactly where I needed to go at every moment. So I enjoyed it. And ideally it's a multiplayer experience with other people in. It was only solo because there were 2 setup stations and people were playing at different times. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm watching a gameplay trailer right now. I like this cute art style.
The art style is really cool. Again, I think the thing that appealed to me most was the level and world aesthetic and design. That was super cool.
Oh, nifty. Any other nifty games in the grab bag, the PAX grab bag?
We're still doing it. I'm still going through them. Do Not Feed the Monkeys 2099. This game I was pretty impressed with. I'm probably going to do a what you playing on the original Do Not Feed the Monkeys because the guy gave me a key for it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll play that for more context. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, what this is it's sort of like a monitor simulator. It would be very FMV like if it was FMV oriented, but it uses sprite artwork. It uses like pixel artwork for different channels
of monkeys.
They're not monkeys; they're humans. They call the humans monkeys in code. So like you're watching humans pretty much.
I thought we were getting a monkey game.
Ooh, I wish. Well, Monkey April is still happening. Don't get me wrong.
Okay. Here. Proceed with the non-monkeys.
You'll wake up, you'll see a bunch of monitors, and you'll observe different habitats for the humans, and they'll do different events. They don't know you're watching. It's not like they're in a zoo. It's more just like you're surveying them, and you're noticing what they do. Sometimes you can interact with them, even though the game tells you not to narratively. Narratively, it's like a no-no. It's like, oh, the name is Do Not Feed the Monkeys. So it's like, don't instigate them, don't draw attention to yourself, etc., etc. But then there's also like these outer lore elements regarding, the society you're in, the groups you're in that are watching these people, and then just like your day-to-day life, because it's not literally you staring at monitors. It's just an aspect of your apartment. And so, otherwise you can go to your right or like you can go to Siri will tell you some things, or you can read your newspaper, read the headlines. Sometimes the headlines reflect what you've done or things going on in the game, or you can turn to your right and see a door and a fridge and a bed, and you can either do some odd jobs for money, because you do need money, and you need resources to eat. You need to eat and sleep. And it's sort of like, a little bit of a capitalist crunch there with some wacky elements. Humor is a heavy thing they lean into. So I really enjoyed it, and I was anticipating it. The Do Not Feed the Monkeys original one was set in normal modern times. 2099 is meant to have a more hard sci-fi futuristic bent to it, where they could have androids and holograms and aliens, you know what I mean? So in that sense, there's a lot more freedom.
So is it kind of like a hands-off The Sims?
In a way, yeah. If what you got from The Sims was letting them be, and then once in a while fucking with them. Yes, and sometimes, again, like, there will be things that test you of like, oh, in the job interview today, what was the person trying to be a job for? And then, like, you could answer that. Or there's also keywords that you can click on and learn more about the world itself. It's a very detailed game. It's also apparently really short. He told me it could be completed in a few hours, but then the point was to replay the game. I think I would have a lot more perspective when I play the first one. So a future What You're Playing will involve an actual analysis of the first one, rather than the 30 minutes I spent with this one. But even then, it was a really good 30-minute impression.
Okay, I look forward to that. I'm liking the sounds of this.
There you go. And we got 2 more. One is Lifeless Moon. And this one I was way more mixed on. I think this was made by one person, and it was one of those scenarios where you could tell. The person wasn't there. It was just like a rep for like the publisher, I guess. and it was interesting in the way I like it. I do like, okay, so basically you play as an astronaut. This is apparently like a spiritual sequel, or a sequel to Lifeless Planet, which was apparently a success. So then he's got a chance to do Lifeless Moon. And it's meant to be a vibe game. It's meant to be you wandering around a wasteland as an astronaut with like a floaty jump, and you're meant to like look at things and like learn about the ruined world you're in, et cetera, et cetera. You're chasing down like an engineer, and there's like some weird things going on. I think the thing is it's very obvious that it's a one person team. It is very clearly like using like standard generic engine assets and stuff. So like, and like the physics are a little spotty. I don't mind floaty, but then I was like, oh, however, this is gonna be this is gonna. I don't know how like the game developer is gonna react to this. This is gonna be the most backhanded compliment I've ever said. This is probably the best use of generic assets aesthetically, because I think it sort of leans into that in this sort of like meditative way. There's a lot of objects like floating in a storm, for instance, or then you land into like an area of forest with like a heavy dense fog. And normally I would say that these generic assets don't produce atmosphere or creative design, but but the developer is able to assemble them in a way that I was actually like impressed on some level. I would much rather that developer be given tools and a team to actually work on things. But that being said, I do see like a potential here, and I would play the game more. I don't know if I would spend money on it, but I would play the game more. Anyways, the last one I actually really enjoyed, and I want to buy it, was Smile for Me. This game was up my alley, and I think it's up the Murph alley too. I don't know what it is. There's like a dark humor to the game. Basically, you play as a character that's forced into this like clinic where, everyone's supposed to be happy all the time, and you're sort of trying to make other people happy, and there's a sort of forced happiness over depression. There's a dark edge to it, but it's not like a mature game. There's a lot of adventure game elements. This is primarily a take on the point and click genre, but what I liked about it was the multi-textured aesthetic. It felt like Paper Mario meets puppets meets like a bunch of other influences that I totally enjoyed. And then they transferred it over to the Switch, and the Switch allows motion controls. And the primary like interaction in the game, there's others, but the primary one is when you talk to somebody, you can either move your mouse up or down, or up and down, or left to right to indicate yes or no. So on the Switch, that translates to an actual gyro motion. It got a little old after a while, but I still found the gimmick really nice in that multi-textural sense. So then I was like super about it. The humor was nice. The aesthetic was like super up my alley. This game is already out. What they were promoting was the Switch port. So I was definitely eager. I may actually fully play this game.
I feel like I've seen this before. It's at least something with this trailer, this like mixed mediums of puppets and
it's like live action puppets and
yeah.
like weird 3D cardboard, and then like
So what's the actual gameplay? It's just like an adventure game.
yes, it's like an adventure game. For instance, in the first room, you see a photographer, and she's got a bunch of pictures on her wall, and she says, "Oh, that loser over there, don't let him talk to me. I'm not interested." And then you go over to the artist, and he's like, "Oh, what does she like? Can you find out what she likes?" She doesn't tell you, but then you're able to look at her pictures, and you're able to guess what she likes. So he goes, "Does she like big canvases or small canvases? Does she like dogs? Does she like the color green?" And then you say yes or no to those, and then he figures it out, and then he gives you a painting based on what you said. And then, oh, guess what? Oh, she kind of likes the painting. Now they're happy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you've solved the puzzle. And then there's other puzzles down below. Each character has their own dynamic or puzzle. An interesting aspect I didn't know is that there's a little bit of a time-based element to it. I don't necessarily know if there's like a fail state, but there is like an over-under on like after a certain while, it's like, oh, it's time to go to bed. And then there's like a sort of impending like, oh, get as fast as you can to the bed. I don't know what happens if you don't get to bed, but like it's supposed to rush you to that. There's little dark edges to the lightness that sort of makes it work for me. Because like a big part of the game is like a forced happiness over depression without solving the problems of depression. So I think there's a lot there if I play the whole game. So I'm interested.
Can I read what the top Steam review is?
Do it.
It's like someone Scott Pilgrimized a game found from a late 90s Russian wars CD and added some animations from Remedy's cutting room floor. This is an endorsement.
I can see that. I can see that. There is a bit of a roughness to it, but it's all charming. Again, it's the multi-textural feel where it's like you kind of don't mind.
Yeah, I like the looks of this, actually. I'm going to check this out.
And then I played other games too. I bought the Big Con, and I'm going to play a full thing of that. I enjoyed.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play that since I saw it at PAX West.
Yeah, I bought it. I got a movie with it.
What?
The way they packaged it was like a digital like card, and there's like a grab bag mystery movie with it. And he was like, oh, because I played the demo, and I was like, oh, this plays like fucking 90s teen mall toe jam and Earl, and I'm super about this. And he was like, oh, if you buy this, you get a mystery VHS movie. And all the R-rated movies were gone. And I was like, this is devastating. I ended up getting I don't remember what it's called off the top. It's like Eyes of Heaven or something. It's the one with Nicolas Cage as an angel and he falls in love.
Oh my god. Yes, I know what you're talking about, because there was a weird string of 90s movies where random actors played angels, like Michael with John Travolta.
Yes, exactly. There's needless to say, I've not seen that film, and I'm probably not going to. But I will play the Big Con eventually, so here we go.
Okay.
We are finally done with the PAX Minute.